last.
Yeah. Okay. And you
So
did
we're
the
doing
same.
it reverse.
Yeah, we're basically. Well, I guess. Yeah, maybe not reverse, but kind of. Yeah. It's okay though.
It's not necessary, but
I mean, the only person who, or right now, instead of your strat where only one tank can't hit it, now we have two tanks that can't hit the blue eye, I guess, but
Yeah, but
it should be
actually,
fine.
if you want, you can go on the red eye, and I will go on the blue one, and then just when he starts casting the hate bound, I will run to the red eye, use my meter, and that way I will use my whole burst on the blue eye, so it's not like I deal any damage outside burst anyways.
I mean, we have to try anyway with the DPS there. Because if we kill it before, way before the last Mirage dive, we
Yeah.
cannot move. If we
Yep.
move, we probably die.
Yeah. True. Because, like, yeah, you don't want to kill the blue eye far long before the last Mirage dive because you can't. You have to continue doing the Mirage dives until the mechanic finishes, right? So.
You still have to play it. That's why.
So it's better to do damage on the red eye
And the
a little
Mirage
bit.
dives also deal damage to the red eye, so you don't want to miss one of.
Yeah, so you have to balance it basically. I mean, so far I think we've had all healers and all tanks damage the red eye and all DPS damage the blue eye, and we've always been able to clear the first like soft enrage, but yeah. No. I think we had one really early on, but it was really early, so we weren't used. Yeah, true.
I mean, if you have a damage down, you might as well just die, because it's better to die than have a damage down.
Oh, yeah. Inquisition. Ima once...
Yeah, Ima had a moment once.
where he thought he had a damage down, but it actually died, so he got the brink of death debuff instead.
Well.
Well, no, but yeah, we've actually done that. Killed ourselves in the intermission between. But I think like one damage down on a tank or healer should be fine, but any more.
If it's on the Dark Knight, it's not fine.
No, okay, yeah, makes sense.
The Dark Knight is stronger than most DPS in this fight.
Okay.
It's okay because I never get damage downs anyway.
Yeah, it's because the Dark Knight always has like the his cooldowns up when he can do damage, so he's stronger. Is that the reason?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Especially on throwdown.
I can check the no damage down.
You should compare damage between Dark Knight and Paladin on throwdown.
Could I?
A nice laugh.
Oh god.
I hate Paladins, so.
I mean, I was pretty much neck and neck with Bed, I think, on Thornton in terms of damage.
Let's see, damage down. You had 5 damage downs and 26 wipes.
We don't talk about that.
We're waiting for anyway. It's
Only the Paladin had more. Good.
I probably got damage downs because you were wiping
fella.
anyway, so you know I just tank mechanic.
See where you got it. 2 at Nidhogg.
Well, that's a wipe anyways when I get damage down on Nidhogg.
Anyway.
Is Feli alive or what?
Well, he's online.
Hmm. He's do not disturb though, which is not great.
He always is.
Yeah.
Someone call him.
You can call him.
Good first impression for me.
Yeah, I'm literally thinking the same.
I write that down.
Oh god. Actually, I don't think Feli has ever been late before. I'm a bit surprised.
No, he's never been.
Yeah. This is the first time for him.
F. Big F.
Yeah, it's usually Val doing this shit.
He was once.
Yeah, once a week.
Hmm. Okay, does calling on Discord even help when he's on Do Not Disturb?
Not really.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He has to see it.
Just spam him tells.
Call his phone, dude.
You have his number?
No, I thought you would have.
Why?
Why not?
Why don't you have then?
Val has everyone's number.
I wish.
I thought you knew him better.
Apart from yours, Zaima. Okay, moving on.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah.
I don't know, his house must be on fire or something.
Yeah. He sent a message like an hour ago. So strange.
I found you. Cute.
Oh no. Oh, we are from same server.
Yeah.
Wait, same server?
Yeah, the best
Odin.
one.
Oh, he's here.
I know. Oh, Feli's here. Nice.
Why
Really?
is he a dancer?
I haven't really been much online lately, though. I don't know. Okay. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, that makes sense. There are sometimes I just leave the computer on in the background, or leave Final Fantasy on in the background. Oh. Yeah.
Why do we have so many lalas in our static now?
I know, right?
They're like
Lalas are cute.
multiplying.
Aima used to be a cat girl.
Me too.
Okay, and then you became a cat girl, now you're Lala again.
I am everything. sometimes Lala, sometimes Aura, sometimes Mikote.
What
Yep.
the fuck, Vok? Why don't you have adventure plate?
I do?
Vok doesn't have one.
Ah,
Wait. Do I have one?
You better.
I don't think so either. I tried to make it like a really bad one, but
You are all fucking
I forget.
disgusting. Holy shit.
I see yours. Nice.
It literally looks like there's nothing between behind your eyes, Zaima.
I mean, at least it's not as bad as some of the face paint you used to wear as a Mikote.
Yeah, no, that's like too many Lalas.
What is this? Oh.
Yeah, okay, remember that we are doing the lasers south first and then north.
Oh, we're doing
Alright.
south first now? Yeah, oh yeah.
We are always doing south
We've always
first.
doing south first, yeah. True.
No, we're not changing anything.
No, we're not changing anything. Okay. Yeah, because the party finder strat I think is north first, that's true.
Okay, eat your food.
I got nervous for a second.
And on the last mechanic, tanks go last. Healers
Yeah.
first.
I know already. I discussed most of the stuff.
Should probably be
Okay.
stopped, but let's see what happens.
I mean,
Chaos.
let's not get stuck in phase 1.
Oh,
Yeah, as I said, it's one of these things. Okay, I'm pulling him back soon.
Oh god, mitigation.
No,
Yeah,
no,
let's-
no,
it's,
just
it's my typical grid off. It has to happen once a day.
So,
it's like
Now
5 gil.
is there anything that has changed or not?
No.
No, okay.
Are you blind when you're born?
Okay, now we kill it.
Sure.
The only other thing that can go wrong is the tether. And I'm sure that everyone will position themselves correctly so that I can grab the tether.
Copium.
That it's worse than your birth. Are you part of the
When you're walking alone,
When you fall on your head, do you land on your
Be easy.
feet?
Are you tense when you sense there's a storm?
Oh yeah, that is different. Okay.
Can you find your way right
Do we wipe?
when you're lost in the street?
Just carry on, there's no reason.
Okay.
I think.
I mean,
I'm pretty
we'll see
sure
how
this is
quickly I'm around.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, just wipe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is different because I think Frederick used to use passage there. So I'll just use temperance and it should be fine.
this is for Tuesday. Familiar with candle,
Okay.
with book and with bell. Were you Whittington's friend?
The Pied Piper's assistant.
Have you been an alumnus of heaven and
Okay.
hell?
Are you mean like a minx?
Okay, so let's use some.
Are you
Yeah.
keen to be seen when you're smelling
Now we have to live
Were
through.
you there when the pharaohs commissioned the
Okay.
Sphinx?
Yeah. Okay, that's good.
And what's his spice strong? And can you as cats do begin with a C? That always triumphant issues from the house. Jellicle cats are queens of the night, singing an astronomical height, hurtling pieces from the Messiah. Hallelujah, and Jellicle choir. Jellicle cats are queens of the night.
Silence, yeah.
Need some more DPS on.
Okay. Yeah.
Interrupt.
Kill him. Okay, now kill Bruno. Nice.
Killers first.
Nice.
Okay, in case any healer wasn't reading, Marple will be taking the first tank buster. So okay. No.
Yep.
I'm numbers, right?
Yep.
And I'm on the left side.
Yep.
Okay.
And take left other.
Yeah.
Purple. Wait, why am I here? What? So bad. Sorry, cute.
Not what I expected.
Yeah, I mean, I got distracted. So. Sorry.
Christine!
In sleep he sang to me, in dreams he came. That voice which calls to me and speaks my name. And do I dream again? For now I find the phantom of the opera is there. there inside my mind.
Sing one song.
That's my bad there.
Wipe it. Oh wait, you wanted to do it? No, I think it's wipe. Yeah. Use it on ultimate. I'll change it if it doesn't work with Lily, but I think it should be fine.
On a quest for my own redemption, use my blade to evade from Ionia. My wind wall keeps everything out when the fight is getting rough. My sword is cutting you down, feel the power of my thrust.
Red.
But if you pulverize, even when I'm far, oh, I'll be there to ult, and I will tower dive with my sweeping blade. Oh, I can chase them all. How are you gonna face the wind when I got my shiv? How are you gonna even live when I got my crits? Every step I take ahead, my flow swiftly rises. You attack and proc my shield, then fall to my tempest. My wind wall keeps everything out when the fight is getting rough. My sword is cutting you down, feel the power of my
take some getting used to.
But if you pulverize, even when I'm far, oh, I'll be there to ult, and I will tower dive with my sweeping blade. Oh, I can chase them all. How are you gonna face the wind when I got my shiv? How are you gonna even live when I got my crit? Oh, when you catch the wind,
Yeah, died to damage.
Yeah. Okay.
My flight was also missing.
When you catch the wind.
Oh, I know what happened. Never mind. I'm just bad. Sorry.
My wind won't keep everything out when the fight is
Okay. No, let's just go again. It should be fine. It's my fault.
I missed something too. So.
But if you pulverize, even when I'm far,
I'm
I'll be there to ult, and I will tower dive with my sweeping
I forgot to take his meds.
yeah.
and chase them all. How are you gonna face the wind when I got my shiv? How are you gonna even live when I got my crits?
I need to think though.
Red.
How will I heal this?
With healing, I hope.
Okay, I think I know how. Do this. Left. Okay. Oh god, I gotta reprog my healer rotation. Sadge.
Right now you have to drop us both, but
Reposition. Clockwise. Now Lily Bell works fine.
That bell was clear.
Wait.
Like north.
North. Wait, what? What happened? It was even placed correctly. Oh god. Ah, god.
It was a bad pattern anyway.
Yeah, I'm distracted too. Doesn't help. Sorry about that.
Do we still need a call out for tanks healers out? That Bedrick used to do.
If you want to.
Well,
actually, I would appreciate it if somebody wanted to do that.
Okay.
Otherwise, I should be able to manage.
Red. Left. I mean wall.
True. Go again. What?
Not even close.
Nope. Red?
Is it a red instance again?
Yes. Maybe.
Meadow.
Reposition.
Clockwise. Okay, time.
Tanks and healers. Okay.
There we go. Yeah. We didn't get healed to full there because that cooldown wasn't up. I'm refiguring out my healing for the entire start of the Thornton phase, so it's taking a little bit.
Memories broken, the truth goes unspoken. I've even forgotten my name. I don't know the season or what is the reason I'm staying here holding my blade. But that's all I play, without any trace. It's only the going I feel. It's me that is fighting as I stand up and fight. The only thing I know for real, there will be blood. Man in the mirror nods his head. The only one left. Right up on the dragon's back, because the mountains don't give back one they take.
Run!
No, there will be blood. It's the only thing I've ever known.
It is what it is sometimes. Well, I hate fucking tethers in this game. Oops.
Purple.
Purple. Thank you. Swipe it.
Yeah.
Are you blind when you're born?
Like, if it's a big problem for anyone, then we can go back to me taking this first tank buster too. If you need to, like, I don't know, figure out something, maybe it's not worth the time.
Can you save your
Can do it.
that it's worse than your bar? Are you
think
part
it's
of the war?
fine.
When you're walking
I'll also just give you. I'm so
You ain't
confused.
giving anything. I'm
I
resing.
ain't giving anything, that's so true. Confused. Okay.
When you fall on your head, do you land
I
on
mean,
your
you could
feet?
give me Divine Benison or Aqua Whale, but
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Let's
Red.
see.
Can you find your way
Right.
right when you're lost in the street?
Do you know how to go to the heavy side layer?
middle.
Can you ride on the broomstick to places far distant?
Familiar with candle, with book and with bell. Were you Whittington's friend?
The Pied Piper's assistant.
Have you been an alumnus of heaven and hell?
Are you mean like a minx?
Are you lean like a lynx? Are you keen to be seen when you're smelling a rat?
Were you there when the pharaohs commissioned the Sphinx?
If you burn and you carve, you're a jellicle cat. Jellicle sons of jellicle cats. 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 We can fly through the air like a flying trapeze.
Counterclockwise.
We can turn all the songs bounce on the top.
No, it's clockwise.
It's clockwise.
We can run up
Thank
the
you.
wall. We can swing through the trees.
die through. Oh god, short like that.
Are we missing some meat on the plungers or something? I like died from like full HP pretty much.
Yeah, that was a bit strange. That was a bit too much damage. But no, but that wasn't like, how much damage did I take? I took. Oh, okay, it wasn't that bad. I took 44k. Okay, no, I should just have healed in the middle. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, I can move Samba if you want to. It's up to you.
Where is it used otherwise?
It's an ultimate. But I can pop Temperance on ultimate, so it should be fine. I'll pop Temperance on ultimate and there's no problem with having Samba on plunges.
So use Samba on plunges then.
Go on.
Blue.
Blue. Left.
Reposition.
Clockwise. Nice.
DPS out.
Look back. Nice. I'll pop Temperance.
Don't need Temperance for on the next mechanic for the transition.
Okay. Oh yeah, because we. Oh.
No
okay.
wings.
Oh, we have too much.
True. Okay, I forgot about that.
I don't have anything to use there.
I'll use Divine Benison on the squishy people.
Do it good.
Is it fine though?
We're about to see. No, it's not fine.
It's fine on the people I Divine Benison. Anyway.
Was I one of those people?
No.
Okay, good.
But you had some Mega Shield already, so. We're going
Yeah, it's a wipe because Feli's dead. He's got
yeah,
one.
I mean, yeah, we can just wait. Yeah. So. Okay.
I mean, I could use Heart of Light there, but I then cannot use it on the first stack.
Can't we like just substitute all Bedrick's shields for Heart of something?
Don't, same.
The shield is a bit stronger than Heart of Light.
That too.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't need Temperance on ultimate, so I'll use Temperance on the last one. How much damage did you take, Felly?
Hold on, let me check. $65K.
So Temperance would remove like 60k, 6k. Yeah, Temperance, you would survive with Temperance.
Overkill was 1.9, 2.5.
Yeah, you would survive with Temperance easily. Okay. So then we have fixed that issue. Yeah. Fine.
So you wanna ready for on break.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we didn't have Sacred Soil. We usually do, don't we?
Do we usually have Sacred Soil there? I don't think so.
No?
Not on the transition. Yes, we do? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Come, I've never noticed. Okay. Maybe I got blinded by... but I mean, it's a pretty big effect, but whatever. Oh, no, I thought Sacred Soil was used during Ultimate, wasn't it, Bok? Ultimate End?
Yes, but it's 30-second cooldown, so it
Oh,
should be
it's so
ready.
Yeah, there's plenty of time.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay, let's go. Right.
I might its new event emote. This fucking quest.
It's the emote from the Gold Saucer event.
You do the event.
You get the emote for left and right.
Let's focus now.
Let's get to Nidhogg cleanly.
Eyes, you mean?
Shit, I forgot to put tacos on. I need to get that into my muscle memory.
Yellow.
Left.
That damage is scary.
That's fine.
Pre-position. Anti-clockwise. Nice. Knockback. Kinda close without temperance, but it's fine.
Did you have reprisal there? Did you use it?
I did, yeah.
We have too much damage without Bedrick now.
By the way, I would suggest holding stuff there.
That's what we're trying to do every raid.
I always keep my misery. Okay, pre-position. Arrows. Ones of arrows. Threes of arrows in first.
Oh,
Really?
so I was out.
That's why. It's okay.
Val, you need to stop DPS at the end because I can't build my gauge. And you have no gauge, so... The fuck cares about you, dude.
Let me think about the argument for that.
He actually dies like 4 GCDs.
But I'm a summoner, I deal no damage, so... Yes, please.
No.
I am practicing my pass.
Ooh, that was a lot. I'll get you.
Ah, I know why.
Try to give him a shield before we start.
That was my bad.
Blue.
Blue. It's
Other
good.
blue.
Wait, survive? No,
Well,
okay. Yeah.
That's what it is sometimes.
Yeah, it's fine.
I hope you have your crafters level at Waffle because we aren't leaving this shit.
Rated M for mature.
Crafters.
Yeah,
All
that's
90. Nice.
Mine? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we all got crafters level, no problem. Yeah, let's go again.
That was my bad. I missed my camo flash there.
You'll have Aqua Veil for the last 2 hits.
Yeah.
For the first hit, I won't be able, because I would have to weave while slide casting. Red?
Left.
Middle. Right.
Wait, am I on the wrong side? Oh god. Okay. Why is it so hard?
This isn't science. They're dreaming it up along the way.
Material that may be offensive to some viewers.
I'm sorry. This is not the time or place for children. I must ask you to leave.
Hello?
You have 5 seconds.
The whole world
Middle.
has changed before our eyes for the better.
Right.
When we hear the word Dubai, most of us picture towering skyscrapers, immense wealth, police with Lamborghinis, 7-star hotels with the absolute cream of society inside them. Also the Palm Islands, the World Islands, the Burj Khalifa, the Burj Al Arab, futuristic symbols of incredible wealth. And so in light of all that, I'm here to make the case that Dubai, the Emirates, and the Gulf countries in general are one of the worst places on the planet. Now this is a rather bold claim, I realize, but it's one that I can substantiate fully. So let's take a look at what's really behind the glitz and glamour, the true face of Dubai and the Gulf countries. To better understand what's going on in a place like Dubai, first let's talk about Romania.
Apparently, somehow I got gazed.
In the decades following World War II, Bucharest, the capital, came to face the same problem as many Eastern European capitals did at the time, as urbanization
Purple.
Left.
Middle.
There, Chef. Well, as you descend the escalator into the loop station, you see the Teslas waiting to whisk you into a tunnel 43 feet below ground. Now, you might think, all right, it's like a subway. But this is more like a highway underground. And because it's Las Vegas, this is also a thrill ride.
Counterclockwise.
DPS out. Oh, this is cursed, man.
Right. Wasn't it? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Someone like this.
Slowly we are heading for the best of men. Decide if you are or done. The holy realm. Sooner than I take my heart. Now my time to lose before eternity. So now I have to find the way leading up to victory. Carry on and don't be afraid.
There's some mitigation missing. Blue.
Blue. Left.
Looks like I will be getting the first pick.
I didn't know that much. But the rest did.
Preposition.
It will be counterclockwise.
She the starter of
Wait, counterclockwise.
So for the first tank buster I could put more mitigation, but at this point I as well just tank it myself when I use like 3 VCDs for mitigation.
Yeah. Also, I'm sorry about my mistakes, but I'm actually figuring stuff out still. It's kind of annoying. Yeah.
I'm in luck.
Purple? No. Yellow?
Yellow. Yellow.
Low.
Left.
Right. Yeah, that works. Okay, now I have a working strat for that. Then I just need muscle memory.
Reposition.
It's counterclockwise. And it goes south. They died? Guess yeah, right. Not quite.
Too late.
Yeah.
I had like 2 seconds on my swift cast.
It's like if the healer is center, they can easily rest, but if not.
Think fast, Chuckle Nuts! You got to pull the pin first!
Use Divine Bends. Oh, good idea. Okay, I'll start doing that.
One day more, another day, another destiny. This never-ending road to Calvary.
Yeah, that's much better.
These
Well, it's not.
Yellow.
Yellow.
Left.
Middle. Right.
You and I will last forever.
That did not work.
Many reasons why I cannot say. My we shall meet again in
Oh yeah. I need to heal. Is it addled?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That was addled. Yeah, it's not really a problem mitigating.
Reposition.
Heal. It's clockwise?
Clockwise, yes.
Knock back.
Oof.
Yeah, that will be the standard from now on, I think. But it's all calculated. Yeah, well, we should probably just get some training on the tugs to just use the LV, I guess. Nope, not enough. Okay.
No, we had like 2 or 3 weaknesses.
Yeah, quite a few deaths. I'm also play suboptimally, so.
Over the winter, I recently went on a couple trips using Amtrak and my local commuter railroads. These trips used the Northeast Corridor and all the lines branching from it. Lines including the DC to Richmond Main Line and the Empire Corridor. My multiple trips on the US network made one flaw in particular extremely obvious.
Ooh, that's right.
My first trip was from Philadelphia to Fredericksburg. This used the Northeast Corridor and a little bit past it. Leaving 30th Street Station, I boarded a Northeast regional train pulled by an ACS-64. A quick side note for my European viewers, the City Sprinter locomotives that Amtrak uses are based off the Siemens Euro Sprinters.
Middle.
So that's why if they look familiar, there's a reason. The ACS-64 pulled the regional train from Philly through Wilmington to Baltimore and then finally to Washington, D.C. Union Station. Then at Union Station, our train sat for 25 minutes. This time is used by Amtrak to switch the locomotives from the electric ACS-64 to the diesel P-42. And this right here highlights the main problem with most of the US rail network. Outside of the Northeast Corridor, there is no railroad electrification for intercity lines. And yes, I know before you start writing that comment, I am aware of the Keystone Corridor. Why is this one major area where US railroad infrastructure struggles? Well, it comes down to a few things. The collapse of Penn Central and Conrail being
Clockwise.
down, lack of investment, and the private ownership of the rail networks in the country. But before we get into this discussion, one of you smooth brains is probably already typing in the comments, but Alan, the US is too big for electrification. Everything is too far apart. It's so impractical. It's so
DPS
impractical,
out.
Alan. Didn't you know that?
I'm a swap with Arella.
This argument because I already have two examples of why this doesn't matter. Example number 1.
Knockback.
Yep, the Trans-Siberian Railway is a great example of a long-distance electrified route. The other example that I have is more relevant to the United States, though. And number 2 is the Milwaukee Road, a railroad that ran through some of the steepest hills and mountains and most desolate places in the United States. And it had large portions of its main line electrified in 1914 and onwards. Remember, this was done in the 1910s. Anyway, let's get back to talking about Amtrak, specifically the Northeast Corridor and how it ended up the way it is now. Before Amtrak, the Pennsylvania Railroad, the New York Central, and the New Haven Railroad owned all the tracks that are now part of the Northeast Corridor. I'm mainly going to be talking about PRR to start off with because they had the largest electrified network before all these companies eventually merged into Penn
Be good
Central.
without.
The Pennsy had the largest network of electrified lines, especially if you include all the ones
Barely.
on the South Jersey seashore lines. Unfortunately, after rider numbers declined, many of these lines had cuts in service and electrification was removed. PRR main lines fortunately kept their electrification, but that wouldn't last too long.
Reposition. Arrows. Series of circles, ones of arrows. In first.
Welcome to the Conrail era, a weird time in American history.
It
where
will
the
be
US
out
government
first.
Came so close to fully nationalizing the entire rail network. This deserves an entire video on its own, but we'll be mentioning when Penn Central folded. Conrail was created to take over freight, and Amtrak was made to take over intercity travel. Conrail became in charge of all auxiliary lines that PRR once operated.
Reposition.
Conrail also
Lands.
had control of all electrified portions of the network, and in Conrail's
And
infinite
we wipe here,
wisdom,
but it's okay.
they ended up
At least we
scrapping large
saw a bit
portions
more.
of the electrified lines just after the 1970s oil crisis.
Which tower is my
let's
tower?
imagine an ultra
Right. That's something we should probably figure out.
Yeah, so one before that one thing, Waffle, the way we do twos is the same way we do ones and threes when you have arrows. So with your arrow, you should have went to the other side.
Ah.
Like you had forward arrow, so you should be on west when you went to east. Like it's I adjusted this time, but remember for the next time, right?
You're on D, by the way, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Southeast.
Yes.
And if possible, tanks adjust or
Yeah, tanks.
Yes, tank sealers adjust, yes.
tanks healers?
Yeah. I mean, we need... Or what mechanic are you talking about?
Yeah, for the towers, for the four towers.
Tanks and healers.
Hmm.
I mean, we could... I mean, technically tanks and melees, I guess, would be better for uptime.
Yes.
It's...
Also for the bait, better. If you have to bait.
Yeah, I suppose.
You will
It's
not
true.
convince our melee to move.
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's okay.
Okay. I don't mind.
people just need to bait,
So-
I guess.
We go to the next clockwise if we have to adjust, right?
So there's like 2 patterns, right? So every pattern is automatically resolved except 2 threes, I think. And so if there are 2 threes, you go to your closest.
Mhm.
And if both are equally close to you, so then you go clockwise.
Okay.
So I wanna know how AP rank got that. He started with Thorn Shield against you. Till DFG, my whole team had no clue. He's on the prowl and I know he's got me inside. There's no way I can survive. Just look how fast I just died. Instantly deleted from the fight. Didn't even have a chance to kite. How is this even working? I don't know. Is this guy really 17 and old? With only one AP ratio.
Be right back.
So I wanna know just how AP ring I get fed. I try to farm it, I'm dead. Walk out of base and I'm dead. So I wanna know how AP rank got fed. I think we're fine, looks like we just won our first fight. It's only Rain got alive, he can't fight us when we fight. Group and push their towers, we have time. But somehow I feel something isn't right.
Also on the first Thornton, can people soak the towers close to the boss? On the very first Thornton mechanic. Because well, especially if you're like a squishy DPS or something, it's easier to heal. It wasn't a problem before, but I changed my Lilybell location, so now it is.
So many final bosses tonight that met their termination. But this one moves at the speed of light. That's no exaggeration.
Yeah. Sweden is more chill than Norway on their national day. Yeah, quite different. Um...
What the fuck is Val drinking? We are talking about a person who takes like 10 minutes to pee. So maybe he's taking a shower. Oh no. 10 minutes to answer the door.
Monorails are a slick, cool and futuristic mode of transportation, but we don't seem to have many of them running around. In fact, when compared to conventional rail, monorails are almost non-existent. And so, why is that? Well, monorails actually tie into this contemporary agitation that all our problems will be solved by tech bros and their magic high-tech solutions. Behind bullshit projects such as the Hyperloop or the Boring Company Loop, monorails are next in line. And so why is that? Why are monorails such a bad idea, despite there being relatively successful systems operating today? Alright, so problem number one of basically any monorail system is cross-compatibility, meaning that if you build a monorail line, only monorail trains will be able to run on it, which in practice limits your system to a very specific passenger train set. And so this here is a photosphere image of the Otsuka station in Tokyo. You can see the passenger platform and the two tracks adjacent to it, but next to it there's another pair of tracks. Now, during my stay in Tokyo, I used to take the Yamanote line from this station. In the morning, I would often see freight trains going past the station on that adjacent pair of tracks. Now, if this was a purely monorail system, this of course would not be possible. But then you could say, oh, well, that's easy. Let's just build a monorail and then leave next to it two pairs of conventional rail tracks so that both freight trains and monorail trains can run. But that idea doesn't really work either. The third and the fourth tracks are used to divert trains to should there be a problem with the first or the second. You know, if the train breaks down or something, or if a switch goes out, then trains can go around the station. You know, of course, if you had two monorail tracks and two conventional rail tracks, you're kinda stuck with those two. You cannot divert any of the trains to any other tracks. Whereas with a fully conventional rail system, you could just switch them over. Speaking of which, problem number 2, switches. Now this might seem like a banal thing at first, but monorail switches are one of the most awkward and contrived things you can build in transportation. If that thing gets stuck during switching or there's any other malfunction, the entire monorail line would need to be shut down for hours possibly, so that the repair team can actually get out there and somehow reach the malfunction switch, which would most likely include industrial alpinist stunts. Now in contrast, if a conventional rail switch goes out, it's much easier to reach and the problem is usually resolved within 1 hour. And if it's an older construction, you can either send Mike out to hammer it back into place so that the next train can pass and then just fix it properly later. Passing a monorail switch is also excruciatingly slow, whereas in Europe there are conventional rail switches certified for 200 km per hour. And that is not the speed for going straight through it, that's the speed at which the actual switching between the tracks happens. And so problem number 3 of monorails is that they have to be completely elevated. And so if we look at these schematics comparing conventional rail to bottom-supported monorail to suspended monorail, we can see that monorail tracks, regardless of where they are, require a significant amount of track infrastructure.
I don't think that will ever stop feeling sketchy.
Even on the surface and underground. And this poses a rather...
As if I needed more grey hairs.
Surface-level rail infrastructure is the cheapest of the three. And
we
so
might...
when we build rail lines, we try to...
I pretty much am.
You want to slow down?
Okay, I'm not DPSing.
Because as you can see, both on the surface and on the ground, you have to build infrastructure as if you were building elevated rail.
Are you sure you want me to do that?
Construction costs, of course. So this means that over long distances, where you would leave the rails on the ground, monorail is just not viable. So if you wanted to build a monorail,
exactly.
you would need to find a section where
that's the mindset I like.
Rails are possible, which in most cities is extremely rare. After all, the vast majority of public transit rail lines go either partially underground or on the ground. But even if there was a section in your city where only elevated lines were possible, you still have to deal with problem number 4, maintenance. Now, monorail maintenance itself is not particularly costly. However, as we discussed, there are very few places where it makes actual sense to build a monorail. So if you have a transport company that has, say, 10 light rail lines, and they want to build a new line between the city center and the airport, and a fully elevated line would make actual sense.
We'll be in first.
It still makes very little sense to build a monorail line. Because if you already have a pre-existing light rail system, you should probably build a line where you can run rolling stock you already have, otherwise you would need to invest in an entire new maintenance depot,
I don't have
specific repair equipment, retraining personnel to maintain the monorail trains, all this extra money just for one single line. And this is of course something that no
so R3 was in the stack.
Moving on, the fifth biggest problem with monorails seems to be capacity. Now it is entirely possible to build a monorail system capable of transporting a lot of people. However, the previous problem relegated the monorail to very specific locations. And because of this, the monorail cannot
was someone with 3 in the stack?
as mass transit should.
Then everyone would die from the light.
Yeah, because I was in the stack and I didn't die.
If there wasn't a 3 east, that means the person west, there was no one west. Because
it's arrows.
The system had 6 trains running between 8 stations on a 3.6 kilometer long line. Now 70 million passengers over the course of 26 years sounds like a lot. And this also happens to be the number of passengers that the Budapest M3 metro line carries in 5 months. And it can do that by having 6 times more trains, 2 times more stations, and a line which is about 5 times longer. And this produces a 70 times difference between ridership numbers. And all of this in a city which is less than third of Sydney's size. Now the M3 line has a ridership similar to the Line 3 of the Chongqing Rail Transit, which is supposed to be the busiest monorail line in the world, and the Chongqing Line 3 monorail can achieve these numbers by being 4 times longer and having more than twice as many stations. Now, of course, this is not meant to be a direct comparison. There are other factors in play, such as how the city is laid out, where the line is led, and so on. But I wanted to show you how disproportionately low the monorail's capacity is compared to conventional rail. As in, you have to build out a ton of infrastructure even in a Chinese metropolis to surpass the passenger count of a metro line in a 1.7 million European city. So to recap, the 5 main problems of monorails are cross-compatibility, switches, the need for the track to be completely elevated, the need for costly parallel maintenance infrastructure, and low capacity compared to heavy rail or even light rail. So why do some cities build monorails? Well, mostly because they are considered to be sleek and futuristic, even though you could achieve similar passenger numbers on a proposed line by just running 24 of those little rubber-wheeled sightseeing trains. Actually, if you had a line where you ran a dozen of those things and each carried at least 50 people per hour for 12 hours per day, you would produce the same annual ridership numbers as the Sydney monorail. Monorails in general seem to be a version of this tech bro future transit drift, which produces overpriced, overhyped, and yet very low capacity transit, which are at the end of the day for the few and not for the many. Go figure. And that's the reason why monorails are a bad idea. Alright, so this was my hot take on monorails. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you feel like this content is worth your money, then there is a Patreon link down in the description. Your patronage is very much appreciated. In the meantime, I'll be seeing you when I'll see you.
Knockback. I'll stop doing damage.
You hear that, Val?
Yeah, Sarlacc is stopping doing damage.
Hi there, known genius Elon Musk here, full of good ideas that always work out. Tell me, wouldn't it be epic to live on a Mars colony? Life on the Red Frontier. What could be more le epic Reddit 420 Keanu Reeves than that? But just what is a Mars colony? Well, it's a colony on Mars. It's the
arrows. Ones of circles, threes of arrows. In first. Going to be in first. Lands. Towers. Pots. Bait outwards. Oh, okay.
Did we actually discuss the tank tethers?
No.
How handle them?
Pretty sure it didn't.
Do you take it from the boss or from the outside one?
From the boss.
Okay.
Where do you usually
The
or
Tesla
did you
electric
usually take it
semi-truck
from the
set to
outside one
revolutionize
before fire?
trucking as a
Took
whole.
the inside
As
one.
of the making of
Oh,
this
okay,
video,
okay.
it's not out
But
yet, but it's coming soon in
Doesn't matter for
2020.
me.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
I
where
think
do you
you
want to use
to soak it?
lithium-ion batteries? Oh no! Alright, my swindle sense is
Because you
tingling, so
don't have
let's take a look
invulnerate
at the
batteries.
Tesla electric semi. How does
Well, we both don't have invul.
Yeah, exactly.
I was used that both tanks soaked it in the middle. One
Okay.
more to the
I'm a Morb.
Yeah, so I will take the boss tether and place it like towards the north. And then you take the add tether and place it like anywhere you fucking want.
Dubai's sustainable
Yeah.
city
Let
really
buffs.
is something.
Yeah,
Something
you can-
really
you
bad.
can
When
also-
I read the first article,
yeah, you
was just
can pretty much
uncritically
place it anywhere
salivating over
that's
this
not
whole
the group.
project, I immediately knew that something was up.
so
And
I
surely
will
enough,
stay
after looking
inside.
at this thing on
Yeah.
Google Maps for longer than 5 seconds, I realized how
up
much
to
of
you.
a fucking train wreck this entire thing is. Now, the fundamental problem doesn't necessarily
Makes
lie
sense.
with the sustainable
Should be
city
fine.
itself. It does employ measures that are actually good. For example, the entire residential area is car-free. Inside you can walk, bike, or take these little golf carts, basically. The streets are cooled by wind towers, so they are actually habitable. The buildings were constructed with the sun and temperature in mind, meaning northern alignments and good insulation. The whole neighborhood is powered by renewable energy, and it supposedly produces more than it consumes. And that's pretty much all the positives. But they do sound good, right? Definitely beats most of the traditional neighborhoods. But even with all that, this neighborhood is anything but sustainable. In fact, it's a giant 46-hectare fuck you to both the environment and humanity. And if this is the future of sustainability, then we might as well just stop bothering with this whole climate protection because we're fucked either way. So what makes me say such harsh words about this project? Before we get into it, a quick word from today's sponsor, Atlas VPN, offering you the best VPN deal on the market for just $139 per month with a 30-day money-back guarantee. It's a high-speed service, more than suitable for both gaming and streaming. In addition, Atlas is more than just a simple VPN. It also blocks all the malicious links, ads, and trackers, and notifies you when someone is trying to steal your data. It also helps you find the best deals during online shopping, including subscription services such as Netflix or Spotify. Right now, Atlas VPN is running a huge discount. It means you can get a 3-year subscription for just this project is so bad. To understand that, first we need to take a look at what sustainability really means. Because turns out it's a bit more than just having energy efficient equipment and a good insulation, although those are definitely a part of it. And so let's compare the sustainable city with the Újpalota residential area in Budapest built during the 60s and 70s. As you can see, the total area is equivalent to around 4 sus cities. It has all the necessary amenities locally,
Food
plus
is
no
actually
public transport,
important now.
so you don't need a car if you live there.
You won't
There are
survive certain areas without
15,500
it.
apartments with an average occupancy of 4.8 people per unit at the time of completion. That adds up to 74,400 people, or around 27 times more than Sus City, which houses 2,700. Factoring in the area size differences, the Újpalota residential area can proportionally house 7 times more people, potentially more. And keep in mind that this is actual affordable housing, or was affordable housing before the housing crisis, while the Sus City is just a bunch of luxury villas for rich foreigners. Also, as I've mentioned before, in Újpalota all the amenities are in one place. There's a market hall, there's supermarkets, pharmacies, sports fields, doctor's offices, schools, kindergartens, all perfectly accessible on foot or with frequent and high-quality public transit. Although some of these amenities do exist in the sustainable city, there isn't much of it, plus they are mostly cluttered in one corner of the place. If you want more than a small supermarket or restaurant, you have to get in your car and drive down a highway for 10 minutes, to this giant asphalt hellscape, for example. This is the exact opposite of sustainable, as it were. But hey, if you want to be environmentally friendly, instead of a 10-minute drive, you can also take public transit to the mall for 1 hour 52 minutes. Nice. But hey, if you take the car, you have 3 highways to choose from. But hey, it's also super easy to get to the Trump International Golf Club in the desert, or to Dubai's indoor skiing slope in the desert. In addition, when we talk about sustainability, there is an extremely important consideration. Can our environmentally friendly solution be scaled up to accommodate a lot of people? And in the case of Sus City, hell no. You can't give everyone an energy-efficient luxury villa to solve climate change, or even a normal energy-efficient single-family house. I mean, I think it's fine to have one, especially if it's passive or even active, but most people are not and will not be living in single-family houses. Therefore, if any government or company wants to solve the issue of sustainability, they must begin with high-density housing where most people live. So basically the company could have just built a couple of residential blocks next to a mall or something, without all the techno magic, mind you, put some solar panels on them, set up some bus lines to and from the city, and the result would have been much more sustainable. And although the sustainable city is hailed as some marvel of technological innovation, it really is nothing new or special. If we stick to the single-family homes, we can already do much better than the sustainable city. For example, you can build a passive or even active house near good public transit and or amenities, so you produce more energy than you use and can otherwise live a car-free lifestyle. But we also have to realize that we can't put everyone in single-family homes and keep things environmentally friendly. Single-family home areas can only grow so large before inevitably becoming car-dependent. Real sustainability comes from good city planning first and foremost, where all the basic amenities are accessible without a car and where you have good public transit links to the rest of the city. Not to mention, being able to comfortably accommodate a large population, not just a handful of eco-friendly rich people. These are the most important things to first consider when trying to be quote-unquote sustainable. Only then should you start thinking about the individual building's environmental friendliness. But in the case of a sustainable city, the designers approached it from the opposite direction and ended up with a pile of energy-efficient luxury villas in the middle of a car-centric environmental hellscape stuck between gated communities and urban freeways. The 5 so-called housing clusters are even separated by giant parking lots, but they're covered in solar panels, so I guess that makes it okay for some people. So, the sustainable city is not the future of sustainability. It's a corporate dystopia. As a rule of thumb, we shouldn't let real estate developers bamboozle us with shiny bullshit projects, especially if you consider how blue-collar workers are treated in Gulf countries. Somehow, my idea of sustainability isn't a luxurious, energy-efficient gated community built in a petro monarchy. I'm weird like that. We need density, walkable areas, public transportation, and laws discouraging private car ownership. This is how we can help solve climate change, not by some Potemkin village in the desert. So anyway, this was my take on Dubai's sustainable city. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I also have a Patreon if you think this content is worth your money. And I'll be seeing you next time.
In first.
Recently, I've come across this video by our friends over at PragerU entitled The War on Cars. Myself being European and a major advocate for public transit, this naturally piqued my interest. What does PragerU, a terminally American organization, have to say about car traffic?
There is a war against cars in America. Regulators want Americans out of cars and onto trains, buses and bicycles. Why? Because of what cars represent. Freedom.
And this type of content follows a longer trend within PragerU. Seems like there's a war on everything nowadays. The war on work, the war on boys, the war on Christmas, and now the war on cars. Leftists are the real snowflakes, by the way. So let's take a look at the war on cars. Through the video, they make...
Well, it helps having a tank that's not slow to pick up tethers.
Yeah. Damage is... Okay, damage is good.
It's fine. I don't know, I wasn't paying attention.
I miss fucking dragon buff, but it is what it is something.
Stack.
Okay,
Let's focus for this.
Take red eye. I just hit red eye.
Okay, then attack the blue.
Now we soak. Soak. Oh, Arella died. Now soak. Wait, why are we dying?
I think it was aggro because I got attack.
Yeah. Ah, yeah.
Waffle didn't have tank stats. Oh no.
Hey. Yeah, it's just. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Oh god. Wait, but so the aggro issues was due to tank stance?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine then.
I have to think about that. I have to reactivate it.
Yeah.
No. If I forget it, okay, but I have to try to remember myself.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Hmm.
Seven relevant arguments. These are as follows. 1. Cars are central to American culture because they provide freedom. 2. Car culture is dying because of government. 3. Government and environmentalists hate personal freedom and want you out of the car. 4. Instead of government enforcing fuel efficiency, it should have been left up to the free market. 5. Urban planners are building bike lanes, reducing parking spots, and investing in public transit, and this is a bad thing. 6. Despite government meddling, low gas prices encourage people to drive more and buy bigger vehicles, and this is a good thing. 7. Car ownership builds cohesion and brings the country closer together. Alright, so these are PragerU's main arguments. And, coincidentally, all of them are horrendously stupid. What's worse, they showcase a fundamental misunderstanding of the concept of freedom from PragerU's part, which is kind of ironic. So let's get right into it, shall we? Point number 1. Cars are central to American culture because they provide freedom.
Ever since Henry Ford built the Model T, cars have been central to the American experience. That's because cars are more than just another way to get from point A to point B. They allow us to go wherever we want, whenever we want, with whomever we want. Think about it. With trains, planes, and buses, the routes are planned, and the schedule is timed. Only cars allow you to be spontaneous. When you get behind the wheel, you are in control. You are free. Americans are explorers. We value our independence, and we've never been good at staying put or being told where to go and at what time.
Now, referring to culture is not a good argument. There are plenty of things.
Clockwise.
That are part of culture which aren't necessarily good. For example, the Taliban can say that subjugating women is part of their culture, therefore they are opposed to women's rights. Would anyone take an argument like this seriously? Would Lauren here be okay with wearing a burqa? Of course not. Just because something is part of culture, it doesn't make it automatically good. But of course the real argument they are making here, the real problem this lady and PragerU have, is that culture is changing. Car culture seems to be on the way out in certain areas of the US, or at least it's receding a little bit, and conservatives find this scary. Besides, the only reason cars became such an integral part of American culture is because car manufacturers successfully lobbied the government in favor of their own interests. American cities were not built for cars originally, not even in the West. They did get demolished for cars though, where entire neighborhoods were bulldozed to make way for urban freeways, which in the end flooded the inner cities with cars, which in turn demolished further buildings to make way for more lanes and more parking spaces. And this was of course a terrible decision. When it comes to livability, most US cities rank from lackluster to just bad. It's no coincidence that all of the most livable cities on the planet are oriented towards public transit and pedestrians. In fact, I would call obsession with cars a cancer of American culture, one that makes life objectively worse for people compared to other countries. Let's move on to the second point. Car culture is dying because of government.
We may be witnessing the death of America's car culture, and it's not dying of old age. People are still buying lots of cars. But there's been a concerted push by government bureaucrats and environmentalists to transform car ownership from a source of pride to a source of guilt.
Now, this kind of argumentation is, of course, part of a wider PragerU narrative, as in...
One line, government is not the solution to our problems, it is the problem.
But do keep in mind that PragerU's funding...
It will be out first. Lands. Power. Pot. Bait outwards.
I'm just gonna lie, these are some good fucking tethers.
Yeah, tethers is so much better now.
Remember tank stance? Okay, it's on.
It's on already.
Yeah, I see.
I turned it on mid-fight.
Nice. Okay. Wait, pop. Pop.
The tanks first.
Remember. And now ranged out.
Remember to kill blue, Aima.
Oh no.
Problem. I will kill it.
Good job.
Barely.
What the fuck, dude?
Easy.
Do you know when to use tank LV?
Tank will be when he runs in. When he runs in.
Yeah, I mean...
healer first, huh?
Yeah,
healers first.
I will
But
use
when
the
you see him run, you need to use it.
I will use it.
Okay, good.
Behind. Come
Oh
here,
shit!
don't
Oh yeah,
stop.
you're right. Oh shit! I think I kind of messed it up, but yeah. My bad. Yeah, so bad. I'll try to heal him anyways. Okay. Okay. Sorry, that was my bad. Oh god.
I mean, still, that's pretty nice. Furthest
Yeah.
we ever got.
Yeah. But okay, that was... I won't forget that next time.
I mean, we probably should talk about mitigation there.
Yeah.
Yeah, mitigation was... I severely thought I would need to heal a lot more in the start, so that was nice.
No.
Tank LB saves everything.
You also can Benny Estinian.
I
not
can.
Estinian, Hausefrau.
Yeah, I can actually do that. We
Yeah.
don't need my damage on Nidhogg anyway, so I can just heal Cure 2 Cute, I guess, during the
I'll use
So-
Dark Missionary on the last AoE, and then you can Benny this fucking retard, and we. Fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I won't ban the after others, huh?
We have to see, because there are a lot of shockwave damage, and shockwave damage is you cannot mitigate with actual mitigation. Only with shields or heal.
Doesn't the tank LB work on it?
It does.
Yeah.
But it's only on till the healers get hit, and a bit more after.
Yeah, okay, but it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Because what really would be dangerous was if there was a lot before we get hit. So
Usually you start mitigating after the healers got hit.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And-
it's good.
And then there should be something on for the pure heart.
Pure heart.
Yeah, that's
the-
where I
yeah.
wanna use my missionary.
Yeah, everyone has burst for that, I guess.
And we probably have reprisal for that too.
Sure that your missionary is up for that?
Yeah, it is.
I have temperance up for it. I used it at the start, so
So-
I guess I can use it later.
My goal is to mitigate with reprisal the tank, Brightwing
guys, Flay here.
hit,
Today-
and the shockwave, and the pure heart hit with reprisal.
Oh, expedient will be on, then that's completely overkill. Then maybe I save temperance. Or maybe you save expedient, actually.
I will use it after the LB goes down.
Yeah, okay. Well, you can do that.
You can also use feint and stuff there. Feint Addle.
Okay, well, you can do that. Yeah.
You can also use
Okay.
feint and
We will be
stuff there. Feint
super
Addle.
mitigating it then, but okay. We can do that.
Do you have the bell there? The lily bell?
Yeah, it should be up then. Yeah.
It's nice for this phase.
Yeah, true. I mean, if we're using Bell there, we should save Expedient for Thornton 2 or something.
I'm
because it would be completely
No, I
overkill.
will, yeah, I
Or-
will have
Remember to kill blue. Aima.
Serena.
Oh, no.
The fairy. It will be
Oh.
ready.
Okay. Well, okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, okay. This will be some insane amount of mitigation then. It's kind of. I won't use Temperance then. Too much. Use it later.
I mean,
Okay.
you have to remember that we will still need a lot of mitigation afterwards.
Yeah, exactly. So we have to save something. Okay. Good. Want to go again?
I myself, I think.
Oh, okay.
Surprised you read the
Remember
chat,
to
cute.
kill blue, Aima.
Oh.
Imagine
I'm
reading the
probably in
chat.
my own way too.
Yeah.
Yep.
It comes in
I
large part
mean-
from fossil fuel billionaires, whose rational self-interest dictates that they help spread misinformation that can lead to the loosening of government regulations, thus increasing their power and consequently their wealth. And this is one of the reasons why I find PragerU so fascinating, their audience anyway. Their narrative is that a shadowy cabal of leftists
You had what? Okay. Yeah, because we had a ton of damage. We were red. Yeah. Okay. Blue. I guess you can keep doing that if you want to.
Left.
Right?
or Jews, depending on who you ask, are influencing the media and social networks and academia. You can't trust anything coming from those sources. But PragerU, funded by fossil fuel billionaires, well, that's where I get my unbiased information from. So is car culture in the US dying because of government? No. In reality, car use and car ownership are on a downward trend in some places in the US because a lot of people realize that it's just not nice to live in a congested city.
Yep.
Whoa!
Was that
Oh,
no check or what?
It went off. I pressed it.
Weird.
God. It's clockwise.
City. All the noise, the
Won't work.
pollution, the safety concerns, all the space that cars take
this
up,
won't
not
do.
to mention
And
the
well,
costs of having
sorry,
to
I
maintain a car to commute to work. It's just
Wait, you
not
actually
nice,
survived.
so people don't do.
Miracle.
And I got a damage.
What about story to me and Arella?
How did you die though? Whatever. Yeah, I messed up my little bow.
How did I lose aggro there?
I'm too strong.
I mean, after check, like,
I did-
are you doing like LB there or what?
I did not check.
Do it if they don't
I pressed
have to.
it,
So
but
let's move on to
didn't do
point
it.
number 3.
Understandable.
Government and environmentalists
I can relate
hate
to that.
personal freedom and want you out of the car.
The very reason people love cars, personal
I hate
freedom, is also why regulators can't stand them. Government at all levels craves control. And when it comes to your car, they want you off the road. So do the environmentalists, with whom they have made common cause.
Now this ties heavily into the previous point, but I wanted to address it separately because this point showcases how PragerU fundamentally misunderstands the concept of personal freedom, which is, pretty amazing. So let's perform a brief thought experiment. Imagine that you are in the desert. There's nobody else around, just you. That means nobody can tell you what to do. Theoretically, you are free to do whatever you want. You have absolute freedom. Sounds good, right? In practice, however, your freedom is severely limited by your circumstances, to the point where the only thing you'll be able to do is stumble around in the hot sand for a few hours until you die of thirst. And if you live in an urban desert, like an American suburb, if you want to get to work in the morning, theoretically, you are free to choose any transportation method that you want, which in this case, aside from cars, is either walking or biking, because there's no public transit. But in practice, you cannot take anything other than your car, because traffic makes walking and biking incredibly dangerous, and it would take you 3 hours to get to your workplace. Because turns out freedom is not this monolithic thing with an on-off switch. There are actually 2 types of freedom, PragerU, positive and negative. Negative freedom is when you are free from outside influences. For example, when you are free from government regulations, free from having to subsidize public transit through taxation, and so on. Positive freedom, on the other hand, is when you are provided with options from which you are free to choose. For example, in Europe, due to the excellent publicly funded infrastructure, I am free to decide how I want to get to work. Do I want to cycle? Do I want to take the bus? Do I want to take the train? In many cases, I can even take my car to work. I mean, it's possible, but more complicated and costly. More on that later. In other words, negative freedom is freedom from something, and positive freedom is freedom for something. And the folks at PragerU, bless their hearts, regularly act like negative freedom is the end-all be-all. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of freedom. If you are theoretically free to take any transportation methods that you want, but in reality, due to your circumstances, you can only take your car realistically, then you don't really have any freedom, do you? And with that, let's move on to point number 4. Instead of government enforcing fuel efficiency, it should be left up to the free market.
This antagonism toward America's car culture can be traced back to the 1970s.
Knockback.
In response to the Arab oil embargo in the early part of that decade, Congress passed the National Fuel Economy Standards for cars and light trucks. These standards, known as CAFE, short for Corporate Average Fuel Economy, forced automakers to increase fuel efficiency. Rather than let the free market decide what kind of cars customers wanted to buy, the government decided to do the dictating. Their regulations have cost car companies and consumers many billions of dollars. But in the last decade or so, the government's heavy hand has come down harder than ever. Beginning in 2009, the Obama administration sought to dramatically increase CAFE requirements.
Of course not.
These Obama-era standards make cars more expensive, around $4,000 per new vehicle, according to economists Salim Firth and David Kreutzer. According
because of this.
Don't mind my girlfriend.
Oh god.
to economists Salim Firth and David
Stop
Kreutzer.
forgetting that.
And the cast is the one that's alive.
It took
What?
cooldown but didn't go out. Sag. I need to not get distracted there. Is that why I live?
A woman. What is that?
According to economists Salim Firth and David Kreutzer.
Now, especially when it comes to the environment, letting the free market loose usually makes things worse. And to me, the fact that the pro-business center-right Obama administration had to intervene and tighten fuel efficiency regulations is proof in itself that it was justified. It means that the free market either wouldn't solve the problem or would have solved it way too slowly. But in light of the accelerating climate change we have currently, fuel efficiency is necessary and the least we can do. But of course, in the world of PragerU,
Government is not the solution to our problems, it is the problem.
Point number 5 is that urban planners are building bike lanes, reducing parking spots, and investing in public transit, and this is a bad thing.
Still, the regulators, bureaucrats, and environmentalists persist. Urban planners are adding bike lanes, reducing parking spots, and pouring billions into more public transportation, all to get people out of their cars. Former Boston Mayor Tom Menino once declared, "The car is no longer king," before banning all cars in a popular downtown shopping district. Arlington, Virginia, a suburb of D.C., actually encourages people to adopt a car-free diet and live in one of the county's urban villages. Seattle, meanwhile, plans to aggressively discourage driving by limiting parking spots, even though cars are an unavoidable part of work and life for most people, according to the Seattle Times. Time will tell if these regulations and strategies will work.
So as far as I'm concerned, this is just another episode of conservatism versus reality. I mean, how lost do you have to be to think that these things are bad? Once again, the existence of Europe proves you wrong. European cities built out bike lanes, reduced parking spots, and invested heavily in public transit, and they are objectively better for it. They are more livable. But of course, these PragerU types will not let facts interfere with their thought process. It's the exact same story as with universal healthcare. Oh, that would never work. That's impossible. We can't simply fund a system like that as the richest country on the planet. And then people point out that every single European country has a functioning universal healthcare system that deliver objectively better results than the US healthcare system for less money. And to that you usually get responses like, yeah, well, that's because Europe is white. But to circle back to PragerU's point, I have to ask, why is PragerU so anti-small business? Small businesses benefit from decongestion. If you take cars off a street and make it more pleasant to walk and plan things out correctly, businesses on that street will make more money. And to quote this study from 1993 titled Impact of Pedestrianization and Traffic Calming on Retailing, a review of evidence from Germany and the UK, Germany has implemented many ambitious pedestrianization and traffic calming schemes over the last 20 years and has carried out quite large-scale research studies on their effect on retailing. The schemes implemented in the UK and the research carried out on them have been more modest. However, they broadly show the same picture. There is generally a positive effect on retailing, with shops inside pedestrian areas being more successful than those outside. And the exact same trends seem to emerge in the US, especially during the COVID epidemic and its closures, with places like Little Italy in Boston seeing a consumer activity increase by as much as 61%. If you want to learn more about the economic effects of decongestion, then just Google it. And I don't know about you, but I'm frankly sick and tired of these loud and aggressive minorities coming in from a different area who take over your neighborhoods and try to dictate how you should live your life. That's right, lady. I'm talking about your kind. Drivers. How come these people who don't even live there can barge into an area and hog all the public spaces, or even have entire buildings demolished to make way for parking lots? And if you dare bringing this up to them, they get all triggered and start screaming at you about how you're a communist and hate America and freedom. A bunch of snowflakes. And so point number 6 on PragerU's big brain list: despite government meddling, low gas prices encourage people to drive more and buy bigger vehicles, and this is a good thing.
Maybe that's why, despite the government's best-laid plans, sales of trucks and SUVs are breaking records as low gasoline prices inspire people to drive more and buy bigger vehicles. Why shouldn't they?
So I've looked up fuel prices and holy shit, gas costs almost half as much in the US compared to Germany where I live.
No,
because
there's something weird with this
to Americans
stack.
paying the second lowest price for gasoline
Like,
among major world
I didn't get
economies.
damaged
And
by
why
the
is
stack.
that?
No
Is
one
it
got
because of
damaged
the
by the
free
stack.
market's brilliant innovations bringing
Yeah,
us
I
low
think
prices?
only me and Buck
Of
got
course not.
damaged.
It's because
Yeah.
of billions
We
of
took
dollars of subsidies to the
130K.
oil sector. And wow, if you think about it, what a historic
I
event
was in the
this
stack
is.
as well.
Conservatives wanting to subsidize something that's black.
That
But
was-
the problem
it was
is
really
that these
weird.
subsidies
Yeah.
produce this vicious circle type situation. If you're subsidizing fuel prices, the economy will
I
be
think
more and more dependent on cars.
maybe one of the
and that
two
means you
had
have
it
to
and
keep
ran in a
pumping
bit
those
too late, and then
subsidies,
they-
because
me
if
and
you
Buck got
stop, you
clipped
risk
with it.
causing an
Like, maybe I
economic
had it, I don't know.
collapse. In other words, through some divine irony, all these freedom-shouting, car-centric conservatives are welfare queens,
got
with the
hit.
taxpayers
You got
subsidizing
hit?
their lifestyle.
Oh, okay.
2 got hit.
Yeah, well, whatever.
No one else.
Yeah, whatever. It's whatever. Actually, never happened, I think, but whatever.
Can happen.
And how nice is that? And so PragerU's 7th point is car ownership.
Yeah, one more Thornton tuple. Wrath of the Heavens.
Let's go.
Builds cohesion and brings the country closer together.
Personal car ownership is part of America's fabric. It brings people together and makes this big country of ours seem a little smaller
Alright.
and more free. America's car culture isn't dead yet. So as long as Americans
Everything
still want
above
to
one
live in
is
the land of the
luxury.
free, America's car culture will never die.
And here I'd like to recommend a video from the YouTube user Not Just Bikes
Red.
titled Why We Won't Raise Our Kids in Suburbia and Moved to the Netherlands Instead.
Wow.
It's some great content describing how car-centric areas propagate the atomization of society, which is the opposite of bringing people together. I don't want to belabor this point too much because you can just go and watch the video, it's great, but I'll say this much. Car-centric areas are generally not dense. People are spread thin, and there's nothing you can do locally really. You have to go to the nearest strip mall, which is 15 minutes away by car. And even there isn't really any community space, you know, there's just a big parking lot and some stores. In a European settlement, on the other hand, the place has a definite center. A place to go, a place to hang out, a place that is reachable by bike or on foot, because everything is close by, because the settlement is compact, because it wasn't built around cars. In a place like this, on the other hand, an American suburb, where do you hang out? Where do you go? Yeah, would you like to go and hang out on this nondescript street or that one? Hey, let's check out that dead patch of grass in the upper left corner. Or do you prefer to stand next to the arterial road instead? These areas do everything but bring people closer together. They atomize society. In areas like this, you either stay home or go somewhere
Like this
else to do
counterclockwise.
things. If you want to build cohesion and bring people closer together, car-centric areas are the exact opposite of what you need. We need human-centric, walkable settlements, and we need them now. And no, there is no war on cars in the US, but I wish there was. American cities would objectively be better for it.
You lose east-west.
Thank you for watching, and
I go left.
yeah, PragerU is still pretty dumb. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, check out my Patreon, and I'll be seeing you next time.
Genocides are the solution to our problems.
Knockback.
Back in
Yes, healer DPS almost matters.
It wasn't even close.
Well, wait, this time I actually don't know. I had temperance. Not my fault.
Let me check.
Yeah.
Improvisation? It gives shields though.
Oh, that explains it.
Just so you know, I won't be
Thanks,
mentioning in this video, but I will say that I do really like these graphs.
I think we have enough
Nice
time
graphs.
to like get kicked out on eyes like it's.
There is no country in the world with great passenger rail accessibility, pricing, and frequency that has a privatized rail network. All of the best countries when it comes to intercity regional rail networks are all nationalized, either owned by the government directly or through a government-run public company. France's SNCF, Germany's DB, Switzerland's SBB, Japan's JR, Austria's ABB, and Spain's Renfe are just a few great examples of the many nationalized rail companies and networks. All of these companies own the tracks, infrastructure, and the rolling stock, aka the trains. And then there is the US. 90% of US railroads lines are privately owned. Amtrak owns less than 700 miles of track and runs mainly on track owned by the big four private railroads: CSX, Norfolk Southern, Union Pacific, and BNSF. These companies routinely block Amtrak trains with freight either by accident or on purpose. But being made late by a freight train is a small problem compared to what these companies do for improving their rail infrastructure. And when I say improving, I mean either doing the bare minimum required for maintenance or actively making their logistics worse by single tracking some of the busiest main lines with the guise of using precision scheduled railroading. It's so obvious that most of these companies are only in it for the short-term profits. So one solution to this is nationalizing the entire rail network. Nationalization isn't something that the US hasn't done before with anything else. The entire US interstate system is nationalized, with the roads being owned by either the federal government or state governments. It's not unusual for the federal government to pass large infrastructure bills supporting these pieces of infrastructure. One said bill was the reason why interstates were built in the first place, the Federal Highway Act of 1956. Nationalization of US railroads isn't a foreign concept either. Throughout the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, the competition from the interstate system along with long-distance trucking became commonplace, causing railroad traffic to decline. In the late 1960s, three large railroads, the Pennsylvania, the New York Central, and the New Haven, merged into one, forming Penn Central. Because of the terrible merger and the freight numbers, Penn Central filed for bankruptcy in 1970, later eventually disappearing in 1976. Many other railroads at the time also simultaneously went bankrupt, like the Reading Railroad, Erie-Lackawanna, Lehigh Valley, Central of New Jersey, and the Lehigh and Hudson. All of these bankruptcies caused a massive void in the US transportation network, but the federal government came to help. And on the sixth day, the Fed said, "Let there be Conrail," and it was good.
You were lucky, Vol.
Why?
I maxed out my gate.
I was holding DPS though.
Thank you.
Your position? In first?
That should have been mine. I had arrow.
We'll see you in
I didn't realize, my bad.
5 to 10 minutes.
5 minutes, please. Let's make it a short one.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a lot of time, I guess.
7, blah 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 blah.
I actually also need food.
Weird. Huh.
This gunbreaker weapon on Lalafell looks like fucking dagger.
Yeah, it is. Everything
It's
is
like
small.
it's like actually wait, give me a moment. Actually, it's as big as my ninja weapons.
Wait. Ninja weapon. My eating knives.
Hell yeah.
The ultimate flex.
Do you have the title too?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the ultimate flex right now when there are 4.
Yes. But I
So
can't
you need to
wear
drop one.
3 weapons.
You need to drop something. You can have different title on your adventurer plate.
Yes. Ah, yeah, great idea.
So you can have legend or adventurer plate and heaven's legend on your character.
I will do that when the time
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
As
I
Dark
will
Knight
do that
weapon.
to another dagger. This is so small. Holy shit.
Wait. On me now. I can show you an ugly X. Give me a
What is
second.
Aima doing here? What the fuck? Get away from me, dude.
Where's my ugly ultimate weapons?
Why are all the Lalafels here?
Are you even on the same server?
We are
No.
gathering.
I mean, Aima isn't on... Wait, Aima, come back here.
Oh, you're in Diadem? No. What?
So. Look at this shit. What? Now he's gone.
Wait, my this hit.
What?
My game fucking crashed.
Rip. Oh, I'll do a ready check while you're gone. We need to redo the bingo though, kid.
Yeah, we definitely need to put some other options in there. It's no longer like relevant. I mean, I guess it depends. A
Like
lot
now,
of things can still happen.
now we're kind of consistent enough on Nidhogg that we could put bait through group in the bingo.
There is bait through group in the bingo.
Oh, there is? Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So it was basically crossed every single time.
Yeah, that's
If-
why it's so bad, because you don't want to have some... I was thinking about like encouragement bingo. Like, have Aima not fail a single meteor.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay.
That would be lit. Yeah, and now I want you to keep doing good on meteors. Thank you.
Oh, God.
I want to be proud of you.
Look at my cute little X.
It's very fucking little and very cute.
And now let's put that ugly shit away. That weapon was a waste of my totem.
Yes, I will never again play Red Mage. I bet at this point we even forgot how to play Red Mage. Dude. It was like... I remember the first day we raided together in P1S. And we were supposed to do the chain mechanic. And I was getting actually fucking stressed out because we were just casting under the boss with red chain. And you were paired with me. You were paired with me, dude. Okay, now I'm ready.
You sure about that? Let's go!
Now we have a tank duo here. Where are you, Aima?
Oh, I did not forget it, Val. That's the point.
I'm already popping another Fanta, wait. I mean, it's like, other than Phoenix, I think it's the most populated server. Are you from Twintania too?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Me and I'm are twin Tanu.
Okay, remember to eat your food. We have 30 minutes, so let's do this quick.
Yep.
Cute. Why?
Realized by now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're disgusting.
No, you.
Conrail emerged as a new quasi-nationalized consolidated rail corporation. Basically, it was nationalization without the total government ownership. Weird, right? Well, to add to Conrail was Amtrak. Amtrak took over all the failed railroads' long-distance passenger lines while Conrail focused on freight. Amtrak was built to fail but miraculously survived and continues to be the US's intercity passenger rail carrier today. Conrail was eventually split and bought out by CSX and Norfolk Southern in the late 90s. Both of these companies were built to hopefully become profitable without the government's help, which in a very neoliberal mindset makes sense. But when it comes to transportation, this is not always true, nor is it a good thing. There are benefits to good transportation beyond making a profit, especially when it comes to the efficiency of travel and energy that trains provide. Amtrak and Conrail were never truly nationalized because they were never supposed to be controlled by the government, unlike European railways that I mentioned in the beginning. If Conrail and Amtrak were nationalized in the first place, many of the lines that were dropped for financial reasons in the early days would have never happened, and there would still be many places with a station or line that don't have one now. And without nationalization, it's dumb to think that a private company would ever run a train to smaller groups of population ever again. Also, private corporations running infrastructure that both the public and the government rely on is such a heinous mistake.
Here's first.
Alright, we're gonna talk about tax policy now. Hang in there.
Peter's first.
Okay, now stay with me. I know that tax policy can be quite the killer to listen to, so I'll keep it brief. I'm not going to go through all the history of taxation.
Careful from the bomb. Oh, what am I doing? Okay.
But know that there was a time when the government
bomb.
practically gave land and tax havens away to railroads. Eventually, citizens complained. Next, there was a period of time when railroads had high tax rates on them.
Okay.
And then Conrail showed up because all of those businesses failed. And then finally in the 90s, many of the taxes were drawn back to lower percentages. And that brings us to where we currently are in railroad tax policy. So now we must go over how taxes on railroads work. Here is an older tax document from the state of New York. Unfortunately, I couldn't find anything newer than this on the internet, mainly because I myself am not a taxable railroad, or at least not yet. So you can see here how each of these states used to tax rail and still do. What it comes down to is how much improvement is done to a line. Well, except for New Jersey, who taxes it per mile. Yeah, I know, we have a weird state. So generally, if a line is 2 tracks, it will get taxed more. hence why a lot of modern railroads have single-track main lines in the United States. But this is only one side of the problem. The main part of the problem is how inefficient taxation and grants are with railroads. Generally, railroads will pay some sort of tax on their land. This tax will go to both federal and state governments. Money is then eventually redistributed into the railroads through grants and subsidies. These subsidies usually going to Amtrak for passenger operations and grants going back to private operators for infrastructure upgrades and maintenance. This causes the problem of needing extra personnel in between each of these transactions for bookkeeping, causing a loss of money and unnecessary costs. Now, I'm sure you'll probably think, well, let's just stop taxing these companies so that they can use the cash in the first place to directly upgrade their infrastructure. Well, unfortunately, most private railroads in the US aren't in the business of railroading. As I said earlier, they're in the business of making short-term money. So the majority of the money saved in a
You to pieces!
Are we...
They're up.
Filthy rats! Be done with you!
Come on, the paladin.
In. Interrupt.
Hunger no.
This ends here!
Healers.
Final cut!
for-profit company is directly funneled back into shareholders and upper management's hands instead of back into upgrading infrastructure and for better service. So what's the solution to this? Well, you can either strengthen the unions to have some power to own the railroad to prevent shareholders from poaching cash, or the other option is what majority of the countries around the world have chosen, and that is to divert to nationalization. Most of these problems could be fixed through nationalization and widespread investment into railroad infrastructure. I propose bringing Conrail back. Conrail would take over freight again and would maintain all mainline railroad infrastructure in the country, along with improvements to lines like electrification. Private companies could still own and operate their freight on the network too. They would lease out lines and run their services. This is very similar to how European railways do their services, similar to Flixi-Train in Germany. Class 2 and 3 railroads could also still exist privately too. because Conrail would only operate mainline services, so Class 2 and 3 railroads would still need to exist for freight hubs. Nationalization would use Conrail to turn the current US rail network into basically a copy of the interstate system, where the government owns the rails and infrastructure but any company can use them if they pay the toll. The main benefit with these improvements through nationalization would be with Amtrak and passenger rail in the United States. Amtrak could truly have control over all of the lines and could manage and set up new lines with ease. Amtrak and Conrail could work together to improve infrastructure and build new high-speed rail corridors as well. Commuter railroads like NJ Transit would also benefit. With nationalization, integration of services into a larger network would be a hell of a lot easier. NJ Transit could open new lines that were once owned by private companies easier too, like the CSX main line that runs from Manville to Ewing Township. The US truly has a long way to go before even coming close to any of those countries that I stated in the beginning. But I truly think that nationalization is the first huge push in the right direction to get that train moving.
Isn't that like never?
With this new battery-powered bus, there is no need for those terrible fossil fuels. Clean and efficient. Oh, damn. I'm running out of power.
Left.
I'm gonna need to head back soon. What the hell?
Hello?
Who are you? What is that?
Trolley bus. I will now pick up your stranded passenger.
What? No, you can't do that.
Bye-bye.
No!
Good position. Counterclockwise.
So today we're talking about buses, and not just regular buses, we're talking about trolley buses. Because in my light rail video, all of you were like, yo, well, what about trolley buses? Are you going to talk about trolley buses? Man, you just left out trolley buses in your BRT argument. Why don't you talk about them? And I replied multiple times that yes, I will talk about trolley buses. So here you go, here's the video. Alright, so first we have to talk about how do trolley buses work. Well, they're electric, of course, compared to their diesel brethren, but they look kind of confusing with 2 trolley poles versus 1. So let's take a second to go over how they work. Normally, trolley buses run on a DC power system, meaning that it's a constant voltage across the entire system. But trolley buses have a problem. They have rubber tires, which are non-conductive. This means that we need a ground wire along with a power wire. This is why trolley buses have 2 poles instead of 1. Trolley buses simply complete a circuit between a positive and a negative terminal. Now, whether the bus has a DC motor or an AC motor with a rectifier is up to the builder of the bus. But generally, most buses do have regenerative braking, meaning when under braking, they can put power back into the entire system. Now, I'm sure this makes you confused then. Why do trains not have 2 wires, one for positive and one for negative? This is because they use the rails as the negative or their ground.
Arrows.
Now, trains are more confusing because trains use AC and DC power, where trolley buses mainly use DC power. But that's a separate conversation for another video, because we do not have enough time for me to get into all the little nitty-gritties about different electric systems. On the other hand, let's talk about how electric buses work, or aka battery electric buses. I have to make myself clear during this video, because technically both buses that we're talking about are electric, it's just their power sources are different. Battery electric buses are even simpler than trolley buses. They have a battery, a motor, and a computer that controls the amount of current that goes into the motor. The biggest difference with the two buses is where they get their power from. Trolley buses get it from overhead wires, battery buses of course get it from their battery. So what makes trolley buses inherently better then? The first reason why trolley buses are better comes down to how battery buses have to charge. Generally, when you charge a battery, the amount of power that you put in does not equal the amount of power the battery holds. There is usually a 10 to 20% loss in the amount of power that is just.
Nice practice.
Yeah, we have to wall it as well.
Wallet.
No.
I'll get cute. I'll get cute.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we have to heal them. It's going to be easy.
I got blood bath, it's fine.
Distributed into the battery from the power system. Here's a chart from Stanford that allows you to see the amount of power lost when charging certain types of batteries. Note that this is applied to normal charging, not fast charging. Fast charging makes it even worse. Trolley buses do not have to deal with these inefficiencies, so over time, the grid and the environment benefit from not having to deal with the extra load of charging.
Yeah, I didn't get the red line.
I ran away too fast.
Yeah, I got that.
That's right.
Charging. And the last thing to talk about under power